with y'all, man. Look, it is Black Balloon. Y'all already know we coming back with another video, man. Hey, let me know what y'all think about the daily uploads. Just being consistent and still putting out quality, right? Like I'm not trying to, throw stuff together just for the hell of it. So let me know what y'all think about the daily uploads, man. Like I said at the end of the last video, I'm just in that mode. It just is what it is. It's stuff to talk about. So we gonna talk about it. Once again, you already know I couldn't let this Megan situation fly on by like ain't nobody heard what she said in the footage that was released. What, 4 or 5 years later now? How long it's been? 2020? Um, I need to get this picture bigger on the screen right here. This is crazy. Whoop, nope, didn't mean to click on that. This picture right here is crazy. Because in this interview, she fake cried. Man, she fake cried so bad. It was cringy to watch it. What they call it? Secondhand embarrassment, right? I couldn't even watch it. I couldn't watch it. You could tell she was just lying. Um, I would play it, but I think Gail King, I think that stuff gets copyrighted, right? But that's not necessarily what we're here for. So obviously, y'all know about the clip that came out from body cam footage where she admitted to not being shot. We'll play that in a second. That's maybe 30 seconds long. We'll play that in a second. The main focus right now is gonna be what Piers Morgan did when he had on Tory Lanez' twin, Tory Lanez' father. They look so much alike that it's crazy. But maybe about a week and a half ago, he had these two on his show. This is Tory Lanez's father, and I forget the lady's name on the right, but she's basically pushing for Tory to be, released, pardoned, you know, um, get out of this situation that has become, you know, I don't even know. I don't even know. It's comedy at this point that he was lined up by Rock Nation, Megan Thee Stallion. It's crazy. So I want to get into the clip of his dad talking because his dad has all the receipts. He's going to talk about the trial. He's going to talk about the evidence that was missing, the bullet fragments that were missing, key witness not being able to testify. Things that I don't even know how he was proved guilty. I'm not sure if he was even proved guilty of shooting her or if it was more like a felon around gun or, you know, um, witness statements, false statements. I don't know, but it didn't require 10 years, right? And for a man to almost lose his life, getting stabbed 14 times in jail. With that being said, y'all, we're going to go ahead and jump into this clip because this is very important to hear as far as the body cam footage coming out where she says she didn't get shot. So this basically ties it all together. All right, check this out.
I just want to ask you, are you 100% convinced that your son did not commit the shooting for which he's serving this sentence?
I'm absolutely convinced. I've always been convinced. And a lot of the evidence that had been suppressed over the years, a lot of shenanigans that went on in the courtroom, are now coming to light. There's been so much foul play. And I'm not just saying this as some sort of pissed off parent. I mean, one of the things, just by way of an example, and I know that our attorneys have spoken to this. They have laid out things line by line. And I want to even take this moment this is the first time I'm meeting Representative Luna face to face. I want to thank you for the masterful job you've done getting out over the last little while, over the last couple of days on your, on your platform so that people can know exactly what happened. But let me tell you from a parental standpoint, a parental observer of my son walking through this. I'll never forget the day when we're sitting outside of the courtroom getting ready for court to reconvene. And imagine the only independent witness, which should have been the only objective witness in this case, was a gentleman by the name of Sean Kelly. Interestingly enough, the only person that would be able to have an unbiased viewpoint of what actually happened. Imagine that the prosecution did not want to call that witness. Why? This is the only independent witness, but yet you don't want to call this person because obviously his bird's eye view will not support what you want the narrative to be. And so when we sat outside, my wife and I, we saw this gentleman come in and we sat down and it was identified for us that, oh, this is Mr. Sean Kelly. He's sitting across from us on the other side of the hallway. And as we sat there, the prosecution came out, one of their detectives or investigators rather, and one of the prosecutors, they took this gentleman, they went upstairs, I believe it was to the 14th floor at that time. By the time this man came down, the witness they did not want to call, this man came down and his testimony became so embellished with other nonsense that people who saw it just looked at it and said, this is crazy. So I saw these kind of things going on all throughout this case. People trying to bury evidence, not trying, burying evidence, a judge that refused to allow certain things to come into the courtroom or to be said and was totally biased on the part of the prosecution. So the whole thing just stunk of a setup.
Just one last question, because you've made me think of this. But if your son was not responsible for Megan Thee Stallion being shot, we do know that indisputably she was shot. Who shot her?
First of all, the whole idea of her being shot is a speculation. That's a speculation. It's to this point has not been proven that she was even shot. And I want to make it really clear because I'm asked questions a lot as it regards to Megan. Megan is a young woman. I'm a father. I don't have any animosity to this girl at all. We pray for her. I've said that publicly on several occasions. My son included in our prayers. We have prayed for her on many occasions. So anything that I have to say is not to put her down, make her look like this person or that person. But the reality is that in all of this, how can you have a situation where in pretrial, the police, LAPD, says that the bullet fragments they had collected from the hospital just mysteriously vanishes. It goes missing. I would think that evidence is something that is protected in any police department, but they just mysteriously go missing. So there's no bullet fragments to be presented at trial. You have a situation where a gun is shot, and the gun, which is supposed to be your main piece of evidence, does not even show up at court, but some picture of a weapon that resembles or is the type of weapon they say that was used. The weapon does not show up at court. There is absolutely no, we hear this point of 0.1% of his DNA on the gun. Do you know what that actually means when you investigate it? That over 1.5 billion black people on the planet could have been their DNA. Yet my son is convicted for having used this gun, where an expert witness from the LAPD gets in there and he testifies as an expert of how many pounds of pressure it takes to shoot this gun and to shoot it 1, 2, 3 times and on and on and on. Yet the only evidence you have could fit the profile of 1.5 billion black people on planet Earth. The whole thing stinks of a conspiracy and it stinks of a cover-up.
Now, that is insane. Couldn't imagine witnessing being played with right in front of my face in a judicial system, in a court of law. I couldn't imagine it. He said no bullet fragments made it to court. They disappeared. Evidence disappeared. He also said the gun never made it to court, never made it to the trial. They just had photos that this is what the gun looked like. Never made it. He also did what did he say? I may have to rewind it if I can't remember. What did he say? 0.1% of DNA, which he said could have been over a billion of, black men DNA, because there's so little of it, you just have no idea who you could pinpoint it to. And I'm going to assume a guy testified about how many pounds of pressure it takes to pull a trigger, as that relates to the DNA being found on the gun. So I'm assuming that if he would have shot it with all of that, force that it takes to pull a trigger, which is, it's not that crazy, but I'm assuming that means that it would have left more DNA. That's what I'm assuming he was talking about. Just like he said at the end, it definitely stinks of conspiracy. And even all of the videos I've done, I mean, we've showed the videos and the lives of him exposing the industry, cracking the industry, especially with the NFT thing, his solo albums of letting other artists know how to, get their own masters, own their own music. But we've showed those lives. But I don't think we've quite cracked the real reason behind this. There has to be something a little bit deeper we cannot see yet that caused all of this. Maybe this was something that behind the scenes they wanted to set up to be a sacrifice, or is it not that simple? Because they didn't try to kill him until that footage was about to come out. And I'm glad Piers Morgan asked his dad, do you believe he was actually shot? Oh, no, no. He said, we know that she was shot. And then the dad was like, no, that's speculation. But now we have proof. We have body cam footage that I can show y'all real quick if you haven't seen it, where she admits to not being shot.
What's that?
Do you think we can go to jail?
I don't know. We're trying to figure it all out.
Not go to jail.
Okay.
I cannot have that on my image.
Okay.
You got shot?
I didn't get shot.
Oh, you did it?
No, ma'am. I mean, no, sir.
So how did that happen to you?
Glass.
Glass? Where?
Where we were coming from.
I was shot in both of my feet, and I had to get surgery to get the shit taken out, get the bullets taken out. And it was super scary.
And of course, a lot of people are saying she didn't want to rat. So that's why she said, I wasn't shot. Because she didn't want to rat. She didn't want to tell on Tory Lanez at that time. No, 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 no. That's a lie. First off, you're going to hear, well, I don't know if I can play that either, because I think it's her documentary where she says that she lied to Gayle King about not having relations with Tory Lanez. In her documentary, she said, yeah, her and Tory Lanez, they did it a couple of times on drunk nights. So she off back, shows you that she'll lie publicly. She just straight lied on the interview. And she was fake crying so much, like she was scared. He said, stop. He started shooting at me. I didn't know if he was gonna murder me or hit something important that could kill me. She was making it as if she was so scared. I highly doubt if she really got shot in that moment. She was real enough to not want to snitch and rat on Tory Lanez. I highly doubt it. But it lets you know everything that happened after the shooting, when Roc Nation put the whole story together to blame it on Tory Lanez, get him out of the way, then became the poor acting of, oh my God, that's when the acting came. That's when this face came. That's when these faces came. These are the fake crying faces right here. That's when this came. Basically just playing along with how they said this needs to happen in order for us to get Tory put away. And then, blatantly make evidence disappear. So we'll play a little bit more. We'll listen to her talk a little bit about it, and then we'll come back and wrap this one up. All right, check this out.
Why have you taken up this case?
Well, first of all, Piers, thank you so much for having us on to discuss this. And I just want to applaud you and your outlet for actually being able to showcase some of the facts here. Look, I don't have any connections to the rap industry, Mr. West, Mr. Brown. The only people that I really know involved in this are Miss Amber Rose, who actually initially flagged this for me and connected me with Tory's attorney. And when I looked at the evidence, and remember, I'm a member of House Oversight and Accountability, and I actually am the chairwoman of a task force that conducts investigations, most notably into the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So I'm all about the facts. And what I can tell you is that the evidence in this case overwhelmingly speaks to the fact that Mr. Lanez is actually being incarcerated, I would say, as an innocent man. And what I can tell you is, even to your question on what happened with who indeed may have pulled the trigger and, allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion. Look, I don't know Miss Stallion, but what I can tell you is that the evidence says that there are no bullet fragments and that there are x-rays that the legal team, Mr. Lane's team, actually has that we'll be presenting. What I can also tell you is based on the evidence that I've seen, again, that number 0.01% DNA match, alleging that it's Mr. Lane's, when in actuality, they actually did not choose to test the other 4 individuals there. No fingerprints found on the magazine. By any arguable case, if this was a murder trial, he would actually be acquitted because there is no evidence. And so what I will tell you is, one of the things that people ask is, well, why are you getting involved as a federal representative when this is a California state? He's not from, Florida, or he's not represented by a Florida member of Congress. What purview do you have? And what I will say, Pierce, is that I have a platform and I have the ability on a federal level to impact prison reform. And what I can tell you is everything in this case, I don't believe that he was actually given due process. I believe it was a stacked trial. I believe the evidence speaks for itself. And I am willing to actually cross party lines to work with the Democrats to secure pardon from Governor Newsom's office. And we're currently in the process of setting up talks with Governor Newsom. I do think that he is going to do the right thing. I think that the evidence speaks for itself. I didn't know that Drake had posted that petition, but what I will tell you is that was the right thing for him to do. And I hope more women specifically in the rap community can come forward and speak to this truth, because as you heard from Miss Stallion herself, she admitted to lying to Gayle King. And what I will also tell you is I'm also have been informed that there's actually ring footage, and that will likely also be released here pretty soon. I know we are helping to put the evidence out there to the American people. But I do believe that this is really a terrible case, and what was done to this family is unacceptable. And I will be continuing to push for his full pardon. I think that people owe them an apology.
She is actually a Mexican American from Florida. I think the first to be elected into Congress. She is a U.S. representative. And, she spoke her credentials quite well. She sounds pretty confident that she can do something about the case, right? And she did say that they were going to release crucial evidence, which was that body camera footage, before they actually released it. And a couple of days later, that footage was released. Now, one thing I noticed is that bigger platforms like academics, and I'm not sure if Say Cheese did or not, but they deleted the post of, Megan Thee Stallion admitting to not being shot. And we all know this is some industry stuff, and they could have been hit up by Rock Nation to take it down. But if I'm not mistaken, unless he put it on his YouTube as well, academics deleted that post off of his Instagram page. But I'm not sure if it's on his YouTube or not. I haven't checked it in a while. But the 0.01% of DNA is out of this world, and especially to not test the other 4 or 3 individuals is insane, y'all. And just like she said, if that was some kind of murder case, he would have been acquitted, because there is absolutely no evidence, no bullet fragments, no gun. You watch First 48, you watch anything that has to do with law and crime or true crime, they make it a point to find the weapon that was used in any kind of criminal case. They're going to find that weapon if they can. They're going to do everything they can, because they know It is key evidence for the prosecution. But in this case, they didn't want to have any of that evidence available because this was a setup. And I'll end this video by saying that I don't fully know why, y'all. It's a deep rabbit hole because we have talked about Rock Nation. We've talked about Tory Lanez wanting to expose, what's the name of the label he was signed to? Interscope. You know, we've talked about a bunch of different whys, but this one, I can't quite put my finger on it. And they definitely tried to end him by, getting him stabbed up 14 times. So, y'all let me know, man, what y'all think about this video. If y'all have a better why, or if you think, I don't know, man, if it's just some old regular industry stuff and they just setting up Tory Lanez just to get him out the way. I don't know, man. I just feel like this story, as far as what is going on that we can't see and we don't know about, is a lot deeper, you know, than what's on the surface. So yeah, man. We'll go ahead and wrap this video up, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this one, man. It's Black Balloon, and I'm gonna see y'all soon. All right, I'm out.